From Washington, this is VOA News. I'm Dave DeForest reporting it might have been a bomb. U.S. officials are telling the media it is possible that a bomb brought down a Russian passenger jet over Egypt's Sinai Peninsula last week. One official tells the Associated Press intercepted communications point to the possibility that the Islamic State group was responsible. Experts are examining the wreckage for any signs of terrorism, while some reports say forensics examinations reveals shrapnel in some of the victims. A plane has crashed in South Sudan shortly after taking off from Juba Airport. At least 32 people were killed. Officials say one survivor, a young child, has been found. Assistant Secretaries of State Patterson and Victoria Nuland have told a congressional panel 85 to 90% of Russian airstrikes in Syria have hit moderate Syrian rebels, not Islamic State targets. The two testified Wednesday before the House Foreign Affairs Committee. Here's Victoria Nuland.
While Moscow asserts that its military actions are directed at ISIL, the vast majority of Russian airstrikes are targeted in areas where the Assad regime has lost territory to forces led by the moderate opposition.
Russian diplomats and military officials contend the air attacks are aimed at Islamic State extremists. NATO's largest military exercise in more than a decade sends what alliance head Jens Stoltenberg calls a very clear message to our nations and possible adversaries.
All other activities of NATO contributes to the deterrence which NATO is providing every day.
The three-week exercise, which began last month, brought 36,000 troops from more than 30 NATO countries for intensive training. This is VOA News. 6 families from Syria and Iraq became part of the European Union's newest program to help migrants avoid the arduous journey others have been making. The families were loaded onto a plane in Greece Wednesday and taken to Luxembourg. More than 580,000 migrants have arrived in Greece this year, hoping to make their way through the European Union to the nations of the West. Taiwan's President Ma Ying-jeou will hold talks with Chinese leader Xi Jinping in Singapore this Saturday. Bill Ide reports.
China says the talks will be a major historic milestone in the development of cross-strait ties. According to an official statement read on state media, China says that during the talks, the two cross-strait leaders will exchange views on promoting the peaceful development of cross-Taiwan Strait relations and deepening ties. Taiwan opposition politicians are already voicing concern about the closed-door talks, and protesters have begun to rally in the capital of Taipei. Bill Ide, Beijing.
I, Justin P.J. Trudeau, do swear that I will be faithful.
Canada's new leader, Justin Trudeau, has been sworn in as Prime Minister, ending 10 years of Conservative rule. Trudeau led his Liberal Party to a commanding victory in parliamentary elections last month, taking 184 seats compared to 99 for Stephen Harper's Conservative Party. Federal Reserve Chairwoman Janet Yellen says if U.S. economic growth continues in the coming weeks, it may be enough to justify an interest rate hike in December. Despite weakness in export growth due to the strengthening dollar, Yellen says the U.S. economy is performing well. She made the comments Wednesday during testimony before the House Financial Services Committee. Liberia's Vice President Joseph Boakai says he is running to succeed President Ellen Johnson Sirleaf in the 2017 presidential election. He said he will be running on Sirleaf government's record. He is nearly 71 years old, and he dismissed suggestions that he's too old to run for office. A U.S. defense official says Defense Secretary Ash Carter And his Malaysian counterpart, Hisham Mudin Hussein, will board a U.S. warship sailing in the South China Sea Thursday. The two will board the U.S. aircraft carrier USS Theodore Roosevelt as it sails in the South China Sea off the coast of Malaysia. The cruise comes amid diplomatic tensions over China's maritime expansion in the region. The Obama administration says the warship's deployment was a routine exercise aimed at protecting the open navigation of the seas. Taking a look at market activities on Wall Street, U.S. stock indexes were down today. Markets were mixed in Europe. In Washington, I'm Dave DeForest.
That's the latest world news from VOA.